I said like two of these. I said a couple of these again. I'm like,
That's
oops,
okay.
I already did that.
Not the end of the world. Okay, so you've got improving your grades and assignments. Tell me about your past history as far as your grades are concerned and your getting your assignments in and stuff.
Well,
in this class or in
no, before this class.
Like in Mr. Simmons?
Well, in Mr. Simmons' class, I got like an E here, where be like an A here now, and I get like an E on my final product because I did like slideshows on the computer and all. And I always had like a hard time doing like I'd always think like when I do editing, it was like, oh, there's nothing here much. I mean, I don't see anything. And then, what you do in class is like, that's a lot.
Yeah. But you've been doing better on that.
Yeah, I just need to like write a bit better and plan it out a bit better.
That's good. That's good that you notice it, though. That means you're going to make a difference in it. Nobody's perfect. The nice thing is, Chase, that I hear you saying these are the things I'm good at, these are the things I probably need to work on a little bit more. Sounds like you have a pretty healthy perspective on yourself. You know, sometimes kids think everything's just peachy and great when it's not, and other times kids think everything is gloom and doom when it's not. And it sounds like you got a good balance going on. You know where your weak spots were when you were in Mr. Simmons' class and where you had strengths, right? So if you were to just think of yourself as you know, what kind of a grade kid you are. You know, if I had to assign a grade to Chase and say, he's an A kid, he's a B kid, he's a C kid, where do you think you are?
Probably maybe.
Potential or past?
Potential. What you really think you are.
How smart are you?
I probably, maybe, like, in the future, I get up to an A, probably.
So you think of yourself as an A kid?
Well,
that's what you have the
in
ability
the future,
for?
How
about right now?
Right now, mostly B.
You're a B kid. So you're an A to B kind of kid. That's what you vision yourself as. Okay? So in order to make sure that you're getting those things, because a lot of things get in people's way of getting those kinds of grades that have that ability, I hear you saying that you need to be really clear on directions, make sure you're taking notes when you're supposed to, that you're getting advice to get ideas from other people. Okay? Is that something you did last year very much?
Well, I didn't really take notes much, but I always try to stay clear on the directions, you know, like, you gotta do this, like, what?
Okay. And in fact, this one really fits with what you're trying to do, too. They really go together. In order to improve this, you really have to have more quality. So they really do fit together. You know,
one of the things that we were encouraging him to do is to be pushy about finding out what does he have to do to get an A. And whereas we understand that there are, most of the time you explain that, probably 90, 95, 98% of the time. But if he doesn't understand, if he has more questions, when is the appropriate time to discuss that? Right then, or to come in during recess?
It really depends. Like sometimes, like for this last book project, I'll use that as an example. When we're having a class discussion and going over the directions and I'm saying, okay, now does anybody have anything else they need clarified? That's when you ask about those things.
Okay.
If it's something where the class isn't discussing it, it's just your own personal need that you need some help with, do you remember when you would do that?
I can't remember.
Okay. You guys can come up to me anytime, like, you know, first thing in the morning when we're getting ready at the end of the day, getting ready to go out to recess, whatever, and say, can I schedule a time with you to help me with?
Okay.
So that when you guys aren't just coming up to me when I'm just I just took a breath ready to start teaching, and immediately right then you need me to help you with your math problem. You know, when I can't do that, there's 28 other people waiting here for us to start something. But that's why I told you guys that the other day. I want to be able to give you guys 100% of the help you need and the attention you need. So if you say to me, gosh, I need help with this book project. I don't understand question 3. When can you help me sometime today? I'll say, yeah. And I look at it and go, okay, how about this time?
Okay.
That way I can get rid of everybody else and you and I can just work on it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Exactly. Sometimes maybe everybody's already working on something and we can go off to the side or whatever. So kind of think about that.
That's one of the things, too, why it's important to take notes, because if there are a lot of things to do, your brain will start to spin.
Well, you see, when we're doing discovering that right now, and I'm a mapper, you know, I gotta write down like a lot of things, like where we're gonna go, like longitude, latitude, and all that stuff.
Are you nervous about it?
Kind of. I got a couple things written down. How there was like 30. There was like.
Well, we're going to
29,
practice
38,
it more, remember,
30. Yeah.
once I get the big, beautiful map up.
Okay. Yeah.
The big piece of art.
That document too.
And you know, too, the first
Overachieving.
few rounds, I'm going to do it really slowly so that I help the mappers out being able to figure out where on the map that particular latitude and longitude is.
Okay.
I think you're not going to have any trouble.
All right. Because I saw my mom one day. You know, she just put it on the ground. She started just going doop 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 doop. I'm like, what are you doing? The mountains. Doop 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 doop. You know, just getting
Yeah.
the marker out. And
Uh-huh.
getting that.
It's pretty cool.
So one of the things then, if you're going to meet with her, you always need to meet with your notebook and paper and pen so that if she says, well, first you need to do this and then you need to do that, you can't expect yourself to remember a big, long list. And you will begin to feel overwhelmed. You won't remember any of it. If your brain works like mine, well, I have to write the
So do
steps
I.
down. I have to say, okay, so first I have to write, then I have to do my pre-write, and then I add the pictures, and then I do. And then you won't get crazy. Go like this.
Okay.
Got a little white thing right there on your eyelash. There you go. And then it will just make that a little easier.
Yeah, it is a lot easier to do
And
that.
that's part of the things that you're one of your goals here is to proof. What was it? Keeping
steps
track.
to take, or where was it?
There it is.
Yeah,
I can also
somewhere.
write down.
Yeah.
I can keep a schedule. That kind of thing. Those papers will really make a difference. Okay.
Okie dokie.
And we will help you with that, and we will be patient until you have the A vision.
Yeah.
I see the right here.
I see it all. An
Oh,
A.
you've got it. You've got it. You just got to channel it now. You know?
Now, we're also thinking about getting a math tutor. What are the areas that he needs to, how do I gear this math?
To what he needs.
Because he's going to need some extra help. He's got to get caught up and maybe a bit ahead.
Yeah, I would say, boy, you know, let me go through his folder
I'd be grateful.
and then, let me write this down, and be more specific than I can be right now.
Okay.
I'll go through, Chase, all your packets of work that you guys have
Okay.
over there, okay? And get what I know for sure about that stuff and what I can project based on what I see there for the other computational skills that we're doing. Math areas.
Because as I do this, I'm thinking, he's not so far behind. We need big help.
No.
I'm just thinking I can get these big boys to come. And if I could just set one person who's at my house for 30 minutes twice a week.
Oh, yeah, that'd be plenty.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That
And
one-on-one
so
is
that it's a regular
huge.
one-on-one.
Yeah,
And they
because-
review the multiplication things.
Yep.
And Doug, he's like the chemistry dude.
He's
She's
our
like,
chemistry
hey,
dude.
chemistry. And, he
He
came
knows.
over.
He's like Mr. Numbers, huh?
He's like
Yeah,
Mr.
he's
Numbers.
Mr. Numbers.
And they both helped. They all helped Melissa with math sometimes too. So if I bet I could pay one of these guys. Joe needs some money for his mission, so I'll hire him to do that if he'll do that. And we'll see what we can
And
do.
I have resources here that you guys can borrow and use for it too, so you
So if
don't
you
need
could
to
find
go out
what,
and.
we'll just do that. And I know one of the things he can do is he can always get faster at his times tables.
Yeah.
There's still some
Well,
delay.
I like mastered those. Like,
But
so
you know,
good.
really,
know them, but
the
you're not
standard is
fast.
7 seconds per. You know, it's a lot slower than what it used to be for us because what researchers have found is that if you know it in 7 seconds, it doesn't inhibit your ability to perform larger functions. You know, back in the days of old when we had to do it that
yeah,
fast,
you did.
they found that it doesn't make any difference. If you can recall it in a millisecond up to 7 seconds, there's no difference in ability. It's
Fascinating.
after 7 seconds where their math scores start going down the tubes.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I remember those times table tests.
I know, because I remember sitting at recess in 3rd grade because they wouldn't let me go to recess till I could do them in the time, and I was terrible at them.
Really?
And I remember I can picture sitting behind one of those little partition things, feeling like the biggest scum on the earth, low life, yuck, that nobody liked because I couldn't get them fast enough.
Oh, I know. There was.
And then I got to 4th grade and I had a teacher who wasn't as worried about that and let me move on and do some other things, and it made it more important for me, and then I was okay.
That's cool. Will you go on down, and I'm just going to discuss turkeys. Will you head on down and see if you can get an idea? I'd like to get one book for everybody. So you
Okay.
went to the
I
library.
looked at a Garfield book. I kind of like it, but.
You already know the answer to that, huh?
As long as Garfield is
Okay.
a 5th grade reading level on the back, I'll get it for you.
Okay.
But if it isn't,
Good job, Chase.
Thanks,
See ya.
hon. So anyway,
Too
if
funny.
yes, he's trying really hard. He just cried last night. So you finally open up those grades. So, but I really think he's going to be another of those attention deficit kids. And with him, I see that too many things and shut down.
Yep.
And so
I noticed that in here too.
Yeah, he will just, that's it, and he gets frustrated and he can't do any of it. When Mr. Simmons started sending packets home, he'd send them for the week, and you had to choose, and there were steps, and then so you had to figure out what you're going to do every day, and his brain couldn't do that. He literally would sit in the corner of the couch in the fetal position and cry. I can't do this, I can't do this. And so we would help him learn to map this out. Okay, let's just say you're going to spend Tuesdays and Thursdays on, But that was a lot of thinking, all that planning, and some kids just
Well,
eat
he's
that
done
up.
very well then, considering that he has that kind of,
He
need
struggles
to,
with that.
have everything one piece, one chunk
One piece
at a time.
And so I think
Got a lot of those in here
if,
this year.
Yeah, if we can get him to the point where you and I are at, which is always write everything down, especially if there's steps, write the steps down, and then he doesn't understand A. He understands, what he has to do,
Right.
but he doesn't have that concept Allie has of reaching out and making and bringing in more.
No,
He doesn't
no,
get that.
no. He has to start there.
Yeah.
Allie started there. She was just there before.
Yeah,
him.
and that's the truth. So
know?
that's why I'm pushing him to come to you and say, so what is an A paper like? Because
Show me an example,
me
and I
what
do
is an
try to
example.
show them
And I'm
things as
guessing
much
that
as
you do.
possible. Well, not everything I have though. That's
And some of it takes imagination, but he doesn't have that yet.
exactly. Like, there are some projects that I don't, where would I keep all these big, gigantic, models and things like that. But I have gotten smart over the years, and I do have videotapes of almost everything.
Well, that's
and that's
cool.
why, like, I showed him 3 videotapes of this conference so they could see it, because he's the kind of kid, if he sees it,
Then he gets it.
he gets it, because the chain of directions isn't going to do it, but I can see it, I can do it. And
Interesting.
that, you know what, that's probably most people. Most people do better when they can see something.
That makes
Show
sense.
me what you want, and I can do it.
Yeah, I used to hate that. And they would just say, use your imagination. And go.
And then you're thinking, okay, now what does that mean
In fact,
to
I
them?
spent a lot of time thinking I didn't have an imagination. It was a long time before I realized I have an, because
Yeah,
there was so much I didn't get that
Exactly.
was required.
yeah.
Imagination
And then,
part.
you have at least I went through this, where I was, I spent probably 2/3 of the class time trying to figure out what it was that when they said this is what it meant to them, not what it meant to me. And then
Interesting.
once I finally got figured out what it meant to them, then I was moving on to another teacher. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, great. I got them figured and I'm leaving.
Yeah, you do that in college though. You have to get inside your professor's head, and then you'll probably do well.
Yep.
But until you do that, your standard,
Absolutely.
their standard doesn't matter.
Absolutely. But I will definitely follow up on this, because I
That would
don't think
help
it's
me a
hugely bad. But you're right, it's the
Do you need this
attention
back?
stuff that's more. Yeah, I'll stick it over here,
Yeah.
at least for him.
Yes, if he will take the time to write down the steps, so then he has to just deal with one step at a time. But as
Yep.
he's looking at that report card last night and thinking all those areas need to be improved, his little brain is just going.
Well, when they're going to soon get going on like things like their research projects and stuff like Allie did, and it's always so helpful for these kids. Like, I didn't realize how many kids in here had never done a book project before in their lives. I was shocked. I mean, never ever done any kind of a project-based kind of thing about a book.
I'm trying to remember if he has.
And, I think most of the kids that were in this school last year have, but I'm surprised at how many of my kids came from other places that didn't do that. And they didn't know how to break it down and do, like do the cover page by this day and do this by this day and this by this day. So, their first couple times that they go through this, I'm going to break it down even more and say, okay, now your due date for this part of it's here, and your due date for this part of it's here.
Good.
And then slowly get them to they're weaned off that by June, and they're doing it on their own.
I didn't get it until.
College.
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes,
It's still scary.
because I managed to just kind of squeak my way through. I mean, I could have done way better than I did if I had some skill. Really.
So cool.
Okay, see you Monday.